Good afternoon, everyone. This is Corey Hinkle with your Ankerstar Wealth Daily Update. I've got a market update for you. We're going to answer the question, does a weak jobs number end a bull market? We're going to look at how Google just keeps winning this week, and I'm going to tell you where I think the stock is going next. And then we're going to look at some surprise good news in mortgage rates. And I might hit on a couple of stocks that are hitting 52-week highs. Because actually the S&P 500 hit a 52-week high today. All right, before I begin, this is a financial education presentation. You must do your own due diligence before acting on anything you hear in this presentation. More disclaimer information can be found on ankerstarwealth.com, and the opinions expressed are mine and mine alone. So the market ended down about 1/3%. Not a lot of activity for the S&P 500 today. A little bit of intraday volatility, but again, we're going to talk in a minute. Does 1 week jobs number end a bull market? And we are absolutely in a bull market, and we'll see more of that soon. As we talk about investing, though, we've got to mention, well, no, this isn't really investing, but the Powerball jackpot has hit 1.8 billion. I don't know about you, but we are going to be buying at least one ticket. That's what we'll usually do. If it hits $1 billion, we'll just buy one, which are $2 or $3. And I figure the odds are so bad, you know, having one ticket gives you enough skin in the game. I'm not going to go out there and spend $80 to buy a bunch of these numbers that aren't going to win. I'm going to spend my $2 or $3, buy one set of numbers that won't win, and then I'll move on. But hey, good luck to anybody out there who's going out to participate. Good luck to you. All right. We got this morning a weak jobs number. Payrolls rose 22,000 by 22,000 in August, less than expected. You know, further signs of a hiring slowdown. I'm just going to jump right to what this all boils down to. We're thinking about the unemployment rate over time. Is the unemployment rate right now moving in the right direction? No, it's not. It's moving a little bit higher. But if you look at history, going back to 1950, there's quite a few times in history where every person in the country would be willing to trade where they were for where we are right now. And the reality, at the end of the day, while it's not moving in the right direction, it is scary. And you might look back on this video in a year and say, oh, you know, Corey didn't know it was going to 5 or 6% unemployment. Of course, that would be really bad, and the market won't like that. But 4.3% as it is today is not going to end the bull market. The bull market needs something really significant to break in order for it to end. And a 4.3% unemployment, just a hair above the long-term average, is not representative of something being broken. So that's where we are. You know, if the trend continues in a negative way higher, then the market will react accordingly. But as it is, things are nothing material is coming from a 4.3% unemployment rate. Okay, and the S&P 500, so down about 1/3% today. I want to show you something. You know, the bull market will reveal itself at times, and of course, we're in that channel, the upper end of the channel. I do want to mention, I don't know what trend line that is there, but you know, looking at one of the trend lines that we monitor is going to be that 200-day moving average on the S&P 500. It's going to be tough for, well, if you look throughout history, you're not going to see a long, very many periods of time where the S&P 500 is going to be 10% above its 200-day moving average. That would represent quite a bit of momentum in the index, and you know, it'd be like you go and sprint, right? You go sprint 100-yard dash. You're going to need to stop for a minute and catch your breath. So if the S&P 500 gets to like 10% above the 200-day moving average, it's going to need to catch its breath in one way or another. Maybe not the next day, but over the course of, you know, the next, we'll say, couple weeks to couple months. But yesterday we had gotten to 9% above the 200-day moving average, and another 1% day today would have gotten us all the way there, which again, that's where, things can get a little exhausted, and we didn't quite get there, that we had that intraday reversal. So here's but that bull market, it does rear its head, right? We had a little sell-off, the lows of the day there in the morning, and look right at people were buying right into the close. It's just the bull market letting you know, hey, we're still here. All right, how does Google keep winning? Google got hit with a $3.45 billion antitrust EU fine amid U.S. trade tensions. And President Trump came out and threatened them. He came out to support them. And actually, Sundar Pichai, that Google CEO, he personally thanked President Trump for helping them close that antitrust case earlier this week that sent the stock moving significantly higher. And now President Trump coming to their defense once again. So I do want to show you, if we go over to bar chart, and these are the NASDAQ listed stocks, but Google is there again on the 52-week high list. I monitor the 52-week high and low list every day for all stock market exchanges, because I'll tell you, the 52-week high low list does not lie. If you're on either one, it's going to be for some reason. And, Google's been riding on that 52-week high list all week, really. Let's jump over. Where's Google going next? I told you that I would mention my thoughts. Google, let's zoom out on a 5-year. Google's been kind of stuck in these, we'll call it 100 to 190 to 200 range for quite a long time at this point. It has been the cheapest fundamentally valued Mag 7 stock during most of that time, with the antitrust case overhang, the fears about AI. And now that it's blown through that, it is not too expensive right here. It's still trading potentially, let me see, right about at a similar multiple as the market. While it's growing quicker than the market, it's probably a higher quality company than most average companies in the market. Of course, it is higher quality than the average company in the S&P 500. You could see a little cool down here, but I wouldn't even blink before Google is going to get itself probably to 250. Just my guess. So I think that's where it's headed in the not so distant future. Again, it could cool off here, but you can see sometimes when you get breakouts, right? You broke out here in April of 2024 from, let's call it 150 to 170, and then it kind of sat there for about 3 weeks before continuing to move higher. So that initial move is not usually the final move, very rarely. All right, so Google likely headed a little bit higher, just my best guess. So some good news for the housing space is that kind of we watch these things, but the 30-year has sneakily fallen, I would say, from May about 7.1% down to 6.3%. If we get that if we get that mortgage rate down in the high 5% range, call it 5.8, I don't know that the floodgates would be open, but you certainly would see a heightened level of activity compared to what we've been recently observing. So that's a very good development for that part of the market, and I'm really interested to see where it goes next. But yeah, just wanted to mention that mortgage rates have been falling and are getting close to a very desirable range. That's all I have today. I hope everyone has a great weekend out there. Good luck. If you do participate in the Powerball, that's not financial advice. None of this is just a financial education presentation. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.